I think a lot of Bitcoiners like to say honey badger don't care. But honey badger cannot care because we're kind of the armor, the thick fur that's insulating it, right? If the honey badger didn't have that thick fur, I'm pretty sure it would care.
100%. And it doesn't matter how much we think we are on a Bitcoin standard. Some of us, maybe some Bitcoiners are on Bitcoin standard. You live in a fiat reality. We are still in fiat life.
Yeah.
So this is not going away. This is just accelerating. And if we don't do our part in accelerating the orange path, then this is going to overtake at some point. I hope it doesn't happen, but it could.
Omega is coming. First Godzilla, then Omega. 10K daily, 100K daily.
The future of Bitcoin, according to Samson Mow, is nothing short of revolutionary. He compares the rise of Bitcoin to two separate phases. The first, Godzilla, represents a controlled but tremendous surge, with Bitcoin hitting record-breaking milestones in record time. Omega, the second, signals a dramatic change in the world financial system. Samson also emphasizes the rising hash rate of Bitcoin, which is a crucial indicator of the security and well-being of its network, as an optimistic indication. This underlines the ideal combination of rising demand, constrained supply, and technological robustness that drives Bitcoin's hyperbitcoinization phase. Please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell for more in-depth analyses of macroeconomic and cryptocurrency trends. Thank you for watching and enjoy the video.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, the demand is far outpacing supply, and sellers seem to be exhausted. So I don't know where it's coming from. I have a theory that it's paper Bitcoin saturating the market.
ETFs?
I don't know, maybe more FTX style. So
Interesting.
we'll see what happens, but that cannot be kept up forever.
Okay.
And I think the demand from the ETFs is sort of like coiling the spring even tighter, removing the mine supply. And you have miners that are stopping selling and starting to be net buyers too, because if they're public, they should be able to issue debt to buy Bitcoin. So Omega is coming. First Godzilla, then Omega. 10K daily, 100K daily. We'll see. Like, it just seems inevitable that the system is so broken, the spring is coiled so tightly that I honestly wake up every day, I look at it, I'm expecting to see it going up 10K, 20K, 30K.
And the hash rate is also at a very high rate, right?
Yeah. Trump likes to checkmark his promises. Like when he said he'll build a wall, he didn't build a wall straight across, which was kind of implying. He built a wall like, part way. So if he says he's going to create a Bitcoin reserve treasury of 1 million Bitcoin, if he does 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, that's still good.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that will be a signal to the rest of the world that this is happening. And I think the domino effect will start to kick off when they see the US actually making a move. And I believe the US has to make a move because they're kind of backed into a corner with the spiraling debt that there is no way to get out of. The only way is to rebase the Bitcoin. And Trump has hinted at it. I don't know if he really understands it, but he said, we'll pay off the debt with a little bit of Bitcoin.
Did he say that?
Yeah, he did.
In the speech?
We'll give him a little bit of debt.
Okay.
We'll give him a little bit of Bitcoin to pay the debt. And I've been saying you should just rebase dollars to Satoshi and say your debt is now repayable in sats. And you might think it's crazy, but it's actually not. The only thing is Tether is creating demand for treasuries.
Yes.
Right? So
And is that not a problematic thing in any way, in your view?
Well, yeah, I've heard that argument from some Bitcoiners on some podcasts saying Tether is propping up the dollar. I would not deny that Tether is a valuable ally of the dollar because they're giving it utility, right? But you have to think of it from a free market's perspective. If it wasn't Tether creating this thing, it would be someone else, like Circle. So you have to understand that the void will be filled historically. If you build a time machine, you go back, someone will fill that void, right? If it wasn't Tether, it'd be somebody else. And would they be Bitcoin friendly and would they be building a Bitcoin treasury? If you look at what we have right now, Circle isn't building a Bitcoin treasury, They're not even focused on helping the rest of the world. They're focused on serving the US. So
And Tether is.
yeah, exactly. So if you take into account that there will be a stable coin that will become dominant, this is the best possible outcome that we could possibly have. Tether has built inroads for Bitcoin, actually.
Yes.
You would think, Bitcoin would have built the inroads and we, go Tether through the Bitcoin channels, but it's not. Because people are seeking out the digital dollar. They're not seeking out Bitcoin. And this is something Bitcoiners don't fully understand yet, but we do, so we built Aqua. It's our advantage. But they're seeking out a dollar. They don't even know what Tether is. They just want that digital dollar that is about $1, right? And then they don't have to worry about it. They have other things to do. They have business, they have children, they have their own lives. They shouldn't be worried about, doing all these things. Like even you could look at it as investing your money in the stock market is a defect of the monetary system, because why do you need to invest your money to not lose purchasing power? But back to that example, they just want the dollar. And they know Tether now, and we can use that opportunity to introduce them to Bitcoin. That's why we have Aqua with your savings and your spending. So they will use Aqua because they're seeking the dollar, and then they will learn about Bitcoin. But I also added a slide for how much Bitcoin they should have.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this in other places I've gone to. I was in Taiwan, I was in Japan, and I create one slide that says how much Bitcoin a country should have based on their gold holdings. So their tonnage of gold at the market value converted to Bitcoin. So like, for example, Germany, I think was 281,000 Bitcoin.
And what's your ratio? Is it like the same? Like the same amount of gold you have, you should have the same amount of Bitcoin? Okay.
And the reason that I do that is then there's no really debate about what is Bitcoin and should you have Bitcoin, because you're anchoring it to gold.
Right.
So if I tell you should have 281,000 Bitcoin and you say, well, why? I'll say you have a couple thousand tons of gold. Why do you have the gold?
Right. So it's the
you think about it yourself.
Yeah, of course.
If it's for
safety, hedging,
protection, geopolitical de-risking, the ability to buy things that you need in times of conflict, or
emergency,
propping up your currency, whatever reasons you have for the gold, it's the same exact reason.
Samson Mow highlights interoperability as a major weakness of central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. While projects like Enbridge attempt to connect different CBDCs, they face complex challenges around data protection and governance. These issues, Mow explains, highlight Bitcoin's clear advantages: simplicity, transparency, and decentralization. He points to poorly executed CBDC rollouts, such as Brazil's privacy issues, as examples of the risks posed by centralized digital currencies. In contrast, Bitcoin stands out as a more secure and freedom-aligned alternative, offering fewer vulnerabilities and stronger support for individual autonomy. What do you think about Samson Mow's predictions? Let us know in the comments below. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more daily insights. Now let's get back to the interview and hear his following words.
We have to do something, and I see our initiatives as a counterpoint to the push for CBDCs. We can just complain and say, oh, that's bad, it's not going to work. But if nobody engages to push something on the Bitcoin side, then they're just going to run rampant with that initiative, those types of initiatives. So I feel like the work we do is valuable. At least I think so. It
is so valuable. We need it so much. And that's why I always encourage people in the end of my annoying presentations about CBDCs, is just, be aware that that's happening. And now your call to action is do something with Bitcoin, onboard people, orange pill, reach out to politicians, do something so that we can at least experience a different reality where we don't have to be all surveilled and controlled in such a dystopian way.
Yeah. I think a lot of Bitcoiners like to say honey badger don't care, but honey badger cannot care because we're kind of the armor, the thick fur that's insulating it, right? If the honey badger didn't have that thick fur, I'm pretty sure it would care.
100%. And it doesn't matter how much we think we are on a Bitcoin standard. Some of us, maybe some Bitcoiners are on Bitcoin standard. You live in a fiat reality. We are still in fiat life, right? To some extent, depending where you live, depending what kind of life you're leading. Yeah. So this is not going away. This is just accelerating. And if we don't do our part in accelerating the orange path, then this is going to overtake at some point. I hope it doesn't happen, but it could. Yeah. So I think we need to be active and prepared about it. So obviously I really like what you're doing. What do you think about Bhutan recently and what we've seen? So
my take on it is that they are mining Bitcoin, but they're trying to be a little bit quiet about it, which kind of is at odds because it's blasted all over the media now. Yeah. Because I think they still have relations with lenders like IMF or whatnot. But I think it's going to be hard for them not to, to present like, we got $1 billion worth of Bitcoin and we need a loan. I don't think it's going to work well. So I hope I can have some connection there. I want to reach out to them and engage with them to see if they can do Bitcoin as legal tender. If it is, not centralized to one entity, but it's federated, it could be interesting, where you can monitor the supply and, if you can see the issuance and burn. There's probably no burn, but you can see the issuance and you can verify for yourself.
What do you mean can see the issuance on the blockchain?
Yeah,
you mean?
If they do a national stablecoin. If
they put transparency on it?
Yeah, I mean, there's no difference between a digital dollar and the dollar now, except for you can have more transparency. Yeah. It can only get better from the way it is right now.
Okay.
In my view. But I don't know if they'll do it the right way or if they'll build privacy in. Just like the panel we spoke yesterday with
Yes.
Marcelo. It's like,
Yes.
you know, they rolled out a CBDC in which country was it? I forgot his example, but they didn't have any transparency. So when you transact with
In Brazil, he was giving the
Oh,
example
right, it
of
was Brazil.
Yeah.
So you transact to your cousin sees all your money.
And they failed dismally because of
Yeah.
that. Okay.
So an idea is an idea. Implementation and execution are two other separate things. So we'll see what Trump does if he does
If
that.
it's Trump, if it's...
I think it will be Trump.
I hope
But-
so. Let's see.
Well, the devil is in the details. And like I said yesterday in the panel, most countries are not equipped to build a stable CBDC
CBDC.
or even a stable coin.
You were referring mostly to the interoperability part of it, the fact that they will not be able to transact with other countries. But do you really think that they will not be able to put that together? Even if it takes them 4, 5, 6 years, they can build that, the interoperability part.
They need to open it at that point, right? But the key is how do you onboard someone to a CBDC?
They have a project called Enbridge that does that creates the interoperability system between different central banks for wholesale CBDC.
We'll see how it works because
Okay.
there are also data protection laws. At least there should be data protection laws. So would the central bank of one European country be okay that the data of their citizens is shared with, I don't know, Kazakhstan?
Let's see how they build it. Okay.
Interoperability of closed systems is a very big problem. This is why Bitcoin fixes so many things.
I get it. Okay, so you're saying that could be like a weak point, that because of that weak point, maybe they will fail.
Not just that, it's just there are so many complexities to rolling out complex systems. You know, it's complicated.
Yeah.
In his closing remarks, Samson Mow issues a strong call to action, imploring supporters of Bitcoin to act now to thwart the increasing movement towards central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. He stresses that meaningful engagement with Bitcoin adoption is essential. Merely denouncing CBDCs is insufficient. Onboarding, educating people about the benefits of Bitcoin, lobbying legislators, and disseminating the orange pill are all necessary to establish a different financial reality that is immune to the dreadful surveillance and control threats provided by CBDCs. Samson also emphasizes how Bitcoiners are interdependent in creating a robust ecosystem. He emphasizes that the strength of Bitcoin stems from the community's combined efforts to protect it from dangers by using the analogy of a honey badger. Despite the fact that CBDCs are developing more quickly, Samson cautions that without Bitcoin supporters actively support the orange path, complacency may result in their domination. Bitcoin, in his opinion, is a better option than CBDCs, which are faced by complications like interoperability, governance, and privacy concerns. Bitcoin offers transparency, simplicity, and decentralization. Recognizing this critical juncture, he urges his audience to take bold action in order to create a more equal and free financial future. Samson Mow's message is clear. Action is required in the struggle for privacy and financial freedom. Every effort matters in establishing a decentralized future, whether it is educating legislators, introducing more people to Bitcoin, or refuting the CBDC narrative. What will you do now? Tell us in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on the latest insights from the world of Bitcoin and finance. Thank you for watching.